Okay, with the title page.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at the University Center in Milwaukee. It's a gorgeous day on a holiday weekend, and it's actually not a shame to be stuck at home on a week like this because we've got some beautiful weather and we're getting some sunshine, and I hope that you found time to take a little time out from your day and join us here during the service. I would like to start with our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And we also have an affirmation for our center. Thank you, God, that we have come to this place to release the past, to celebrate the present, and embrace the future in love, peace, harmony, and prosperity. We would like to do the daily word now, and Joanne Bauman is here to read that for us.
Good morning on this beautiful spring day. The message for today is, I invest my faith only in possibilities for good. The parable of the talents in the Gospel of Matthew tells the story of a wealthy man entrusting sums of money to 3 of his servants before leaving on a journey. When the man returns, he praises and rewards the 2 servants who, through wise investments, have doubled the funds entrusted to them. A 3rd servant who, acting in fear, hid the money entrusted to him, receives no rewards. And of course, in the scriptures, the words talents is used instead of money. The divine faculty of faith that is part of my spiritual inheritance is more valuable than money. I invest my faith wisely by believing and trusting that possibilities for good are present even where good has not yet manifested, and I act on that belief. My positively directed faith brings rich rewards in consciousness. And from Matthew 25, verse 21, it says, You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. And so it is.
Thanks, Joanne. So I am the musician today as well, so I'm going to play a song here. I ran across a song I wrote a while back that put the first half of Psalm 40, one of David's psalms, to my own melody, and I thought I would read that psalm and then sing the song for you. For the director of music of David, a psalm. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. Blessed is the man who makes the Lord his trust, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, O Lord my God, are the wonders you have done. The things you have planned for us, no one can recount to you. Were I to speak and tell of them, there would be too many to declare. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but my ears you have pierced. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you did not require. Then I said, here I am, I have come. It is written about me in the world, to do your will, O my God, is my desire. Your law is within my heart. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He pulled me up from the desolate pit when I was too tired to try. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will hear and will understand and put their trust in the Lord. Blessed is the one who makes the Lord his trust, who does not turn away in pride. Our Lord has manifested wondrous deeds. His miracles are multiplied. Sacrifice and offering thou does not desire. An open heart and listening is all that you require. In the roll of life you have given me a part. Thy law is written in my heart. I delight in thy will, please show me my part. Thy law is written in my heart. Thy law is written deep within my heart. Thank you. And before I start the message of the day, I'm going to sing one more song. This is just a fun little song I wrote about our current situation, but there are some lines in here that would apply to the message of today as well. It's called Lemonade. Life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If we stay centered, we've got it made. It's just the universe playing us a serenade. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If we can trust, we'll get through it. Stay grateful and there's nothing to it. Life isn't meant to be a walk in the park. Sometimes it's light and easy, but sometimes it is dark. We grow much stronger as we move along. Live in the moment, don't dwell on what's gone wrong. Look for solutions and hold on tight. There always is an end to the night. If we can trust, we'll get through it. Stay grateful and there's nothing to it. Life isn't meant to be a walk in the park. Sometimes it's light and easy, but sometimes it is dark. life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If we stay grateful, we've got it made. If you're dealt a hand that you'd rather not have played, and life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If you're dealt a hand that you'd rather not have played, and life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Thank you. Okay, for all of you that haven't been scared off yet, here's the message of the day. It's called the practice of discernment. And I'd like to start with a short little story. Two women are in a hospital to have their babies, and because the place is exceptionally busy, they have to share a room. One woman is rather wealthy and likes to talk a lot. The other woman is of much more humble means, but is a good listener. The first woman says, "I'm so lucky to have such a wonderful husband. He gives me a special gift every time we have a child. After my first child, we went on a world cruise." And the other woman nods her head and says, "That's nice. After my second child was born, he sent me to a spa for a week." The other woman smiles and says, "That's nice. And after this child, my husband is buying me a new Mercedes." And the woman says, "That's nice." And then the wealthy woman says, "What does your husband do for you when you have a child?" And the humble woman thinks for a moment and she says, "Well, after my first child, he sent me to charm school." And the first woman kind of harumphs and she says, "What kind of a gift is that?" And the humble woman says, "Oh, it comes in pretty handy because I used to have quite a temper. Whenever anyone annoyed me, I used to tell them they were full of bullcrap. But it used to get me in a lot of trouble. But now I just nod my head and say, that's nice." So, the reason why I started with this joke is because a friend of mine told me that this joke changed her life. She was going to college and she was very frustrated at the maturity level of the students in her dorm and in her classes. And basically almost everything they said and wanted to do was annoying the heck out of her. And she was at her wit's end, and she turned to God for help. And she said, "God, I want to graduate from this college because this is the degree I need to make things happen in my life. This is my way forward. But I don't think I can put up with another 3 years at this place. She said, please show me what to do." And she woke up the next morning and on her way to class, a classmate walked over to her and told her that joke. And she immediately knew that God had answered her question. For the next 3 years, she smiled and said, "That's nice," whenever anyone said anything to her that began to annoy her. And I think that that is amazing because it shows that she was open to discern lessons in her life. She was open for guidance. This didn't change her circumstances. It didn't eliminate the inane conversations, but it did change her ability to move through those conversations with more ease and grace. And she could have easily dismissed that joke as corny and stupid and, let out a groan and then went right on being annoyed by everything that happened at school. But instead, she was open and settled and listening and waiting for an answer from her question. And all I can say is, let those who have ears hear. To me, that's what that saying means. So discernment really is the ability to recognize it when the next step appears in our lives. And the next, and the next, and the next. It requires being at ease in the present, trying to live in patience, openly listening as events unfold. Now, people don't think much about living in patience, but it really means an acceptance of the present, of being able to be in the now and being okay with it. So the dictionary defines discernment like this. It says, the ability to judge well, as in he exhibited an astonishing lack of discernment. And I can think of a few politicians that fits. You probably can too. They might not be the same ones. So let's leave it at that. In religious context, however, it says perception in the absence of judgment with the view of obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. So I just love that. I'm going to read it again. Perception in the absence of judgment with the view of obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. In absence of judgment, it speaks to that idea of acceptance, of being settled and open, and being fine with being in the present. It allows us to listen, and that is so important. So let's take a look at some of the qualities that it takes to improve our discernment. Non-judgment or non-condemnation, patience, being able to be in the present now, being open and truly listening, and living in expectation that we will get guidance and direction. So there's a few Bible passages which I like that illustrate this to some extent. The first one is Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 and 2. And you will have recognized this for sure. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Now, I like to substitute condemn instead of judge. So, do not condemn, or you too will be condemned. For in the same way you condemn others, you will be condemned. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So that is a great warning to remember not to judge and to be open and listening. The second one is from the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verses 3 through 11. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought a woman caught in adultery. They said to Jesus, "The law of Moses commands us to stone this woman for her acts. What do you say?" But instead of answering, Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. Finally, he straightened up and he said, "If any of you is without sin, let him cast the first stone." And again, he stooped down and wrote in the dirt. At this, those who heard began to go away, one at a time, older ones first, until only Jesus was left standing with the woman. "Woman, where are they? Has anyone condemned you?" he asked. She answered, "No one, sir." And Jesus said, "Then neither do I condemn you. Now go and leave your life of sin." I really love that story because Jesus tweaked the conscience of all those around him to realizing that this vengeance and following the letter of the law was not the correct response in this situation. I don't know if you've ever heard of a book called The Messengers by Nick Gunick, but he supposedly was Paul in a past life, and he was alive during the life of Jesus. And he found this out through hypnotic regression. And I'm not saying that the story is true, but the story he told was really interesting because he said that he was there when Jesus did this act in the gospel. And he said that what Jesus did was wrote with his finger in the dirt. And every man who looked saw his own worst secret sin written there. So whether that's really true or not, it just strikes a chord in me. Like, what a miracle that would be to just show each person, just leave them laid out bare by just scribbling in the dirt, and their own mind saw their own worst sin. So I've never forgotten that passage from that book, just because it explained in detail what might have actually happened. How these men could have been so moved that they walked away ashamed. So the one thing I want to make sure is not lost about that situation is that Jesus was thrown in a situation in this passage where it literally did mean the difference between life and death for someone. But he addressed it with peace and with calm and without judgment of guilt. So when you can look without judgment, you can also act without anger, and you can tap into your best self and the guidance from above or within. You know, I was going to title this talk The Gift of Discernment, but it's not really a gift so much as it is a practice, because it's something that we need to do each and every day, and we need to actually be aware of it and work on it. It takes daily application. So, what else does it take to practice discernment? Well, there has to be that sense of inner peace, inner calm. And to some extent, you have to have a detachment from immediate outcomes or specific results, because otherwise you're going to fear that the outcome is going to be incorrect, or you're going to lose, and you'll be acting out of fear rather than out of hope and inner guidance. So you cannot be settled and open and listening if you're afraid of losing every time you're in a confrontation. So I'm sure you all think that's great, Kevin, but that's easier said than done, you know, and it's true. It isn't. It isn't easy. You can say decisions have consequences and I don't want my life to turn out badly, but just remember that if you worry over every decision, and you won't have to wait very long to see how things turn out, because you'll already feel like everything is turning out badly, and that's really no way to live. So one of my favorite sayings is, why worry when you can pray? Meaning we really don't have to go through life alone. We can have a source of strength if we trust in God. So don't forget your prayer life. Other things we can do is being settled and open and listening. So how do you do that? Being settled involves an inner stillness and a calm that is physical as well as emotional and mental. So you really want to try to slow down your life. Eliminate things that don't truly serve your higher self. So some examples that come to my mind are cutting myself back on screen time, cutting myself back on the news, cutting myself back on TV shows or movies that don't that unsettle me rather than settle me. Same way with music. And if you pay attention, you can tell those things that help to settle you and those things that unsettle you, especially when you're listening to the news these days. So take some of the time that you save by cutting back on screen time and news and TV shows to use that time for spiritual reading and reflection. It's best to start every day or end every day with a time for journaling, for reading spiritual material, for praying, for listening to calming music, and for meditating. Another thing is, remember every day to count your blessings. Count your blessings with gratitude. So I would ask you every day as you wake up to list 3 things that you're grateful for. And if you do this every day, you'll find many more than 3. And it will multiply, because what we look for, we find. So if you have to start off with such things as clean water, warm clothes, and a roof over my head, go with that. But soon you'll find many reasons to be grateful. I'm grateful for my coffee pot being set up and ready to perk the second I get out of bed each morning. So I'm sure that you have many things yourself. Another thing we can do is we can actually set our intention for each day. So, something like, Father, help me to be open to your guidance this day. Help me to recognize your hand in every situation. For today, I will listen to the still small voice in every situation. If you set an intention like that, it's much easier to remain calm if you get in a situation that feels unsettling. So as these things become your daily routine, you'll be more settled and you'll begin to feel less tense in any situation during the day. But if you do feel that tenseness, it's best to try to pause as best you can and take a few deep breaths. Just slowly inhale and exhale, or interrupt the conversation briefly. Just say, boy, it's hot in here, and go open a window. or lean over and pet your cat, or pet that person's dog, just to break that tension. It can really help. And sometimes you can just be open about it. Say, this is not going the way we really want it to go. Let's just take a step back and start over. You'd be surprised at how just breaking the train of thought between two people that are starting to get in a heated discussion, one that has more heat than light, just breaking that train of thought can really make a difference. So take a few deep breaths and separate yourself from the outcome. Don't be afraid that you're going to lose. Just be open to what is happening. Try to step aside and watch self pass by. Just remember, you'll have more control and you'll be more open to make better decisions if you're able to just pause and react from a peaceful situation. The best decisions will occur to you, and a change of course will not feel like an admission of error. So you want to make a decision that will be best for all concerned and will bring new ideas to mind. So try to be more open to guidance and ask others for their ideas. You'll find more right words to say and right actions to take and strength to handle each situation. So I mentioned before that meditation is very important for this. It really helps us to find that calm place and return to it. But for those of you that have trouble meditating, there are some exercises in this book that the Ministers Book Club is doing. My Grandmother's Hands, Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Our Bodies by Resme Menachem. So there are some exercises in here that he suggests for us to learn to calm ourselves. And I thought that I would change things up a little bit and use some of these during our meditation period. So I will do that right after I sing one more song for you. No, never mind. No song. I'll sing a song later. So let's just start the meditation music. Okay. So the first one is a visualization. So let's take a few deep breaths and allow our bodies to relax. A few deep breaths. Now think of a person or an animal or a place that makes you feel safe and secure. That person or animal or place. And then imagine that right now, this person or animal is beside you. You are in that safe place. So let's just imagine that. Breathe in slowly and deeply and just visualize that. Feel that safety. Let's just sit in the silence for a minute or two. allow yourself to focus your attention on the center of your belly, right behind your navel. And breathe in and out, deeply and slowly. Pull the air all the way down into your belly, and then breathe it out. Keep breathing deeply and slowly, and follow your breath as it flows in through your nose and down your throat, and into and through your lungs and into your belly. Keep following it as it flows back out again. You won't actually pull air into your belly, of course, but it will feel that way. So let's just continue breathing this way for a few moments and just feel the air flow down into your belly and back out. If you catch your mind straying, just return to paying attention to your breath. So we're going to end this by just adding one more thing to our routine here. As we breathe in and out, let's begin to just do a low level hum and feel that vibration move through your body. And each time you exhale, you can hum. Don't be afraid to hum at different frequencies, higher and lower, just to see how it feels. But that vibration moving through your body can really help you to feel more calm and open. So I'll do it for a moment myself. So I hope you're feeling more settled now and more peaceful. These are exercises that you can do even if you have just a moment or two before you're ready to start the day, or start a new task that you might be a little nervous about, or start a new conversation with someone that perhaps you haven't been looking forward to. So again, these things just take a minute or two, and you can easily breathe slowly and deeply and just focus on that without drawing too much attention to yourself. But if you're alone, please feel free to do the humming or do a chant. That can help a lot. And if all else fails, just think of that beautiful, safe situation, or that best friend of a pet, or best friend in human form, and just imagine them being here supporting you and feeling that relaxation. So I hope that helps you to get started on your practice of discernment, and you can report back all your successes to me the next time I see you, and hopefully that will be the last Sunday in June when we open the church back up for services. We still don't have the details yet, but it is coming. So, let me play a song, and then we will do our collection of gifts. I wrote this song probably almost 20 years ago, or about 10 years ago. But it was a meditation of my own on a column by Philip Shard in the newspaper. He was a very good Jungian psychologist that used to have a weekly column. This is called The Joy of Slow. That is a phrase he used in his column that day. The joy of slow is subtle, don't you know? It's all about the process. It's not about the goal. The joy of slow takes practice to achieve. It's all about the journeys and the stories that we weave. So take it slow. Say no to go, go, go. Say no to speed. Take some time to breathe. Don't do two things at once. You're simply split in two. You'll learn to relax if you really want to. The joy of slow is never about the end. It's all about the journey. Appreciate the twists and bends. The straightest line is never where the knowledge lies. You'll find that the detours put the sparkle in your eye. So just live slow. Say no to go, go, go. Say no to speed. Take some time to breathe. Don't do two things at once. You're simply split in two. We can learn to relax if we really want to. The joy of slow, you shouldn't need to ask. It's being present. Let's learn to single task. And when you find that you have too much to do, it's time to simplify. Don't try to overdo. Take it slow. Say no to go, go, go. Say no to speed. And take some time to breathe. Don't do two things at once. You're simply split in two. We can learn to relax if we really want to. Thank you. So, let's take our gifts in our hands and pray the offering prayer along with me or listen and make it your own. There is no lack or limitation. Freely I give, and freely I receive from God's abundance. Unity Center is blessed in receiving, and I am blessed in giving. And so it is. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for continuing to support our center. We hope to come through this on the other side with ample funding and the ability to continue to spread our message to all who are open and yearning on a spiritual journey. And your contributions help us to continue that. We still have the lights to pay and the water bill and many other expenses as well. So your help really does make a difference. So I would like to say the prayer of protection with you, and then we will close with a recording of the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And so it is. Thanks so much.
Thank you.